Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on some fence. Just cleaning up around it and troubleshooting a little bit. I had pull out the clearing saw because this is more brush than grass, and it just makes a quick work of it. I already tested by the fencer and I had good voltage there. This is on the other end of the fence and I have nothing, so I gotta go and troubleshoot and figure out why. At this point I actually heard the sound of the fence actually shorting off of this tree all the way across the pasture. That was the first issue I found. The next problem. This was just either the wire came off or I left it off, but I have a section that I can just disconnect so it's not shorting out on all the brush that we just cleared earlier. Okay, so here you can see that the fence tester was reading that we had 11 amps worth of draw, which was most likely caused by the wire touching that steel T-post. There's still a load though, so there's other issues somewhere. Alright, so this top wire is actually touching the post, and that's a pretty good short there. In this clip here, I'm actually cleaning stuff up a little bit because it's just thrown together to go and get them out there. And all the wires were tied together at this end, so I'll explain this a little bit later, what I'm talking about, the wires being tied together. Alright, it's back together, the fence is on. We're still having a voltage problem here. The top line, once I walk over to it, is actually got good voltage, so something's disconnected. Okay, so here it was, the bottom two wires that are supposed to be connected with that jumper wire were actually disconnected, so that was why the bottom two wires going around the fence were dead. Alright, so how I was saying about having the wires connected on the other end. So what that does is it causes current to flow all the way to the other end and then come back to where you have your short. So it makes it just a little bit more difficult to determine where that short is, because you'll have a load on either side of where that short is. So as you're testing, you won't have that amperage drop off. So you won't realize that you passed where you have an issue. So when you go and disconnect this over here on this side, it makes it so instead of you having current on every line, you're only going to really have it on the line that's got the issues. So you'd have that full 16 amps or however many amps that it's drawing on that line, which then in turn makes it much simpler to diagnose where you have a short. But then also the advantage to having it connected on the other side was actually you have less resistance in your wire. Our fence isn't that long, so it really doesn't make a difference. But if you had a really long fence, like say a couple miles worth, it might make sense for every once in a while for your 3 strands or 4 or however many you have be tied together, because then it'll go and cause less of a voltage drop when you have an issue.